These are 15.
50?
15.
Oh, $50.
Yeah, they're not cheap. Ammon bought 10 of them. That's all his money.
Wow.
In the studio right now, we have a special guest. You would know of him, perhaps, by being the 2000 Olympic champion, the 2001 world champion, and the 2004 Olympic bronze medalist. He's an awfully large man. His name is Rulon Gardner, and he has come by here to visit us today. Author of the book, Never Stop Pushing. Hello, Rulon.
How are we doing, Ammon? It's good to be here, brother.
It's good to be here. We're glad you are joining us today and have found time. He's a busy man. This guy is all over the country, and he's here this weekend, and we all thought here that it'd be good for him to drop in.
Well, you've been bugging me for about almost a year now to come by, and actually I'm going to Wyoming this weekend, and then going to go up and spend some time with my family up there and hang out up there. And I'm actually on Sunday going to do a high school graduation and getting to share hopefully the dream of success and hard work and just setting a goal and setting a dream and making it happen.
Very, very awesome. You know, and of course we're always trying to keep things on the positive out here, and you know, your book is just an awesome, it's a motivation. You suffered frostbite a while back. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, 2002, after I won the Olympic gold medal, the year after I won the world championships and kind of took on and defeated the world, you know, was on top of my world. And then February 14th, 2002, I went out there with some of my friends and went up and went snowmobiling that afternoon and got separated from them and made one or two bad choices and chose to think I could, you know, go down and find my friends. And I went down into a gully where I couldn't get out of, and the snow was about 6 feet deep, you know, all powder. And I chose to continue to follow the gully down further and went through 2 water holes and got wet. Went off a pretty large cliff, made it, survived off that, and then actually rode about 7 miles before my snowmobile at 7 o'clock at night actually had to go in the river, because the only choice I had was either stop or try to go in the river to try to save myself and make it back to my hometown of Star Valley after Wyoming is where I'm from. But as I, you know, just continued to push myself, I actually dropped it into the river and got it wet and got it kind of stranded between 2 boulders. And as I got off and I pulled my snowmobile backwards, my hand slipped off the snowmobile and I fell into the river and turned over, and so I completely submerged myself in water and stood up. And at that point, you know, said, you know what, you're no longer stronger than, you know, what you think you are. You need to wait. You need to, you know, be patient and wait for somebody to come save you, because you can no longer save yourself. And the same thing that helped me win the Olympic gold medal was the same thing that was killing me, is that drive to succeed. Is, you know, at that point I just, you know, said, hey, you're going to wait around. And, you know, until about 4:30 in the morning, from 7 o'clock at night, I waited underneath some trees. And at 4:30 in the morning I had a vision where I saw Jesus and God and a brother that I had that passed away. And I remember, you know, waking up out of the vision, and, you know, I just asked for a chance to live. You know, they were there to take me home, and I just said, please, not yet. Let me continue to live on this great earth. And as I, you know, remember waking up thinking, you know, you still, you know, you just had a vision, but you still have 2 more hours before the sun comes up. And, you know, the temperature, you know, gets dark, it gets the coldest right before the sun comes up as, you know, dawn hits. And for me to come up and to make it through until 6:30 in the morning was kind of a goal that I set to come out and survive the whole night, and then to survive it and then go in and actually, you know, make it, to see the airplane come over and spot me at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then, you know, wait 3 hours because the Salt Lake Olympics had just started. The security reasons, they wouldn't allow them to come pick me up. So for 3 hours I sat there and was kind of, you know, stranded in the middle of nowhere extra, you know, then I should have been saved. And so for me it was just a matter of focusing and preparing. And when they finally got there at 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, they picked me up. My core temperature had dropped to 80 degrees. You know, a person should be dead at that point. And, you know, the doctor said, your feet have been frozen all night. You'll never walk again. You'll never wrestle. You're going to be amputated at the ankles. You need to think about your future. And that's not in wrestling. And I just asked the doctor, I said, please, let's do everything we can to keep my feet. And we went in, and I went and did rehabilitation, came through after, you know, about 6 months of rehabilitation. I started to walk again, and then that fall I went in and started to train again. And within 6 months I went in and defeated another American who that year won the world championships to make the 2003 world team, and then eventually come back in 2004 and make the Olympic team and, you know, win the Olympic bronze medal.
I mean, that's so incredible. I hope everybody can really take, I mean, that's such an inspirational story. Come back after all of that and win a bronze medal in the Olympic Games. I mean, phenomenal. Phenomenal. you know, I hate to say it, but we've got about we've got just a little while before 12 o'clock here. But is there anything else you know, that you'd like to share about that experience, or any other?
Well, you know, just, you know, growing up where I did, you know, I grew up about 3 hours north of Salt Lake. You know, I grew up in a small town, and I was the youngest of 9 kids, and you know, you learn to deal with opportunities in your life. And for me, I had a lot of hard work that needed to be done. And when I started my education, I had a learning disability. I had a reading comprehension problem, and I had a slow learning. And it basically took me a lot longer than the other students, and I just, you know, really focused on the positive. I'm going to stay focused. And like my high school counselor said, I'd never go to college. It was a waste of my time. And for me, it was, you know, it's about going out there and proving something to myself, and going out there and working for my dreams. And I went out there and graduated from high school and graduated after college. You know, I spent 6.5 years to get my college education. And you know, even above and beyond wrestling, education was the most important thing. I graduated with a degree, and then at that point, you know, then decided to pursue my Olympic career, and took that same desire that I'd earned my whole life, and took that in and actually, you know, created an opportunity in the sport of wrestling. When most people said, what's a farm boy from Wyoming going to do at the Olympics? And then to make the Olympic team, you know, how can I go out there? And the individual I beat in the 2000 Olympic Games is Alexander Carell, and the biggest and the toughest and the most successful wrestler ever in Olympic history. And for me to go out there and wrestle a 13-time world Olympic champion was a dream come true. And then to ultimately defeat him, to make, you know, kind of history in the sport of wrestling, to knock off a dynasty like that was something that I never could have imagined. But, you know, having a great support group around me, my family, friends, you know, all those great coaches and all those great people who along the way challenged me and gave me an opportunity of hope and belief in myself and a dream to go out there and reach your potential.
Wow. I mean, I'm inspired. I don't know about you, but that's a story of saying, hey, everybody, don't let other people put limitations on you. You make things happen for yourself. The name of the book is Never Stop Pushing. Once again, that is Rulon Gardner. And anything else real quickly before we end up? Thanks so much for coming in and joining us today and sharing that inspirational story.
Oh, you're welcome, Ammon. And for me, you know, it's about going out there and living life, and always, you know, trying to do your best. I know in my life, I was never the best. I was never, you know, the Olympic champion through life. It was about adversity all the way through until my senior year in high school. I was JV behind a brother, and I was second best in my own family. But I didn't find it as a way to give up on myself. I found it as a way to continue to believe in myself, and that ultimately helped me because it gave me the chance to know that I could overcome anything if I continued to work at it and continued to strive to reach my potential. And you know, you said a moment ago, you know, hopefully it's inspiring. If it's not, you know, me and Ammon can come by and inspire you one way or the other. So it's just a pleasure to be here. And you know, we live life one time, you know, one day at a time, and one chance we have to live this life. You know, why not do it the best you can and give, you know, everything you can to reach your potential, because you know, only you and the good Lord know out there what your potential is, and why not go out there and strive to reach it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rulon, for coming in today. You know, on behalf of Sam and Sonja and myself, just thanks so much for coming in. And is there anything else that we should go into here? It is 11:58, so we're just going to finish up with a quick song here, and we will catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
Very nice. Fabulous.
All three of us in, actually, out for us.
Yeah.
Can I take a snapshot on the camera?
Yeah, but the video's better. That's why I was doing video.
Okay, alright. I got you.
Alright.
So we're good. We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice.
Rulon Gardner, man.
Nice meeting you, man.